Glorious sunshine, perfect race conditions here at Snetterton for round 7 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. And here is a check on the hybrid boost allocation, which really underlines the size of the task facing the championship leader Dan Camish, who's got minimum boost allocation, and he's also starting from the back of the grid after his problems in qualifying yesterday. But his teammate Ash Sutton firmly on pole position, and we'll go straight into the commentary box and join Tim Harvey and David Addison.
We are looking forward hugely then to this first race of the day. Real mix of tyre compounds up and down the grid. Green flag waves and away blasts Ash Sutton. A little more hesitantly, Tom Ingram gets away now, and this last opportunity on this near 3-mile circuit to get some warmth into the tyres. So let's have a look then at how they line up. It is Ash Sutton on pole position. You've got the tyre compounds beneath the graphic. He's on mediums. Tom Ingram is on softs with him at the front of the grid. Colin Turkington and Jake Hill second row. Both BMW's quick starting cars on soft. Ricky Collard and Adam Morgan are on medium and soft, respectively, on the next row. Josh Cook and Rory Butcher row 4. They're on the harder compound tyre on the 5th row. Hards for Dan Rowbottom, soft tyres for Stephen Jelly. Next on the grid on the 6th row is Tom Chilton. He's on hards, and so is George Gamble alongside him. The 7th row of the grid is where new Dan Aaron Taylor-Smith lines up on soft, and Ronan Pearson on the medium tyre, starting 14. 15, Dan Lloyd, hard tyres, mediums for Mikey Doble alongside him on row 8. Row 9 of the grid, Sam Osborne on mediums, Bobby Thompson on the harder tyre, and then on the 10th row, Andrew Watson on mediums and Dexter Patterson on the harder compound tyre. Row 11 is where Jack Butel and Aidan Moffat line up, both on the hards. The 12th row of the grid is where you find Will Powell and Nicholas Hamilton. Again, they are on the harder compound. Dan Camish next, he's on hards, and so is Nick Halstead alongside him. And Jade Edwards at the back of the grid after a technical infringement with the car. Nothing she did, but it was with the car. She's at the back and on the harder tyre. So we are looking forward to 12 laps of racing, and before we do go racing, let's check in with one of the real rookie stars of the championship this year, Ronan Pearson. Ronan, pretty decent qualifying yesterday. There you are mid-grid. It's going to be a busy race, this.
Hello David and everyone watching at home. Yeah, not a bad qualifying. We're right in the mid-pack. First Jack Sears Trophy driver, which will be my main aim in this race ultimately. Obviously a lot of different tyre strategies going on. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Looking forward to it.
What was the thinking behind going on mediums for this race, in terms of not only why mediums, but was it your choice? Was it the team's? Was it a collaboration?
For us, it's a known tyre, so we're going with what we know. It's what we've done all day yesterday on the medium. It's my first time round here this weekend in the touring car, so we want to consolidate, if not move forward, and yeah, see what we do for race 2 and 3.
And it's a busy lap as well, this. Good overtaking opportunities, so you should be able to make some progress from there.
Yeah, absolutely, David. It looks like there's a few cars on the hard in front of me, so ideally we'll make a good start, settle in and muscle our way through. Ronan,
good luck. We'll leave you to it.
Thank you.
So Ronan Pearson then, as I say, will line up 14th. He was mighty impressive at Donington back at the start of the season. And just to remind you of the hybrid allocation, of course, it is the number of laps available now. They all have the same amount of time per lap, but it's the number of laps that are different. So the better you do in the championship, the fewer laps. It's only 1 lap for Dan Camish, starting way back 25th on the grid. I mean, that's a big ask for him to make any progress on the hybrid. And you can see Ash Sutton with only 3 laps, but 2 for Tom Ingram, and the maximum you can have is 8 laps.
8 out of the 12 is the maximum. A fascinating race in prospect. Tyres, the big talking point. Camish at the back has chosen to take his penalty early. He's starting on the hard tyre. Crucially, all 4 BMWs have gone for the soft tyre, the fastest tyre option. They've taken it in the first race. Majority of the field at the back are on the hard tyre to get it out of the way. But what can Sutton do on the standard prime medium tyre against Ingram on the soft and the 2 BMWs behind on the also on the soft? It's going to be a really good race. If Sutton can win this, wow, has he got the best car driver combination?
Well, we know he is something special. Of course, the other thing the teams are trying want to do is second guess what the weather is doing. Now, as the cars come to the grid, as tyre choice is made, it's clouded over a little bit. The temperature has dropped a little from when we were standing in the pit lane, 10-20 minutes or so ago. Could that have an effect on tyre longevity? Well, we're about to find out, because this is round 7 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. The car you're looking at on pole position is that of Ash Sutton, third in the championship. 3 laps of hybrid use. Tom Ingram, the reigning champion, with him at the front of the grid. The last car to slot into place will be the Team Hard run Cupra of Jade Edwards. And as she comes up towards the line, the other one just a row ahead that's going to be worth keeping an eye on to see what progress can be made will be the Napa Racing Ford Focus of Dan Camish. This becomes damage limitation in a way for him, but he's got to try and aim for the top 15 and get into the points, therefore, especially if the likes of Sutton and Ingram, who are behind him in the championship, are disputing the race lead. So, everybody is in place. 12 laps on this long Snetterton 300 layout. Last car in place. The green flag will be shown now to say that we are good to go. Ash Sutton, pole position, round 7 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. Like to go out, a good start is made by Sutton, not a very good start in contrast by Tom Ingram, so Turkington gets the drop on the good day as they go down towards Riches for the first time. Jake Hill comes up to attack on the inside of Ingram, and he will go through as well, so Ingram gets muscled back down to 4th. Josh Cook on the dirt on the inside line as they turn their way now up towards the hairpin at Wilson for the first time. Cracking getaway by Sutton, but they're 3 wide for second. Ingram on the outside, Turkington on the inside, Hill was in the middle, and Ingram is the one that comes out the big loser, run out wide over the curve.
Well, a bad start for Ingram, and he's been further mugged down at the Wilson hairpin, pushed out wide by everybody. The 2 BMWs off like scalding cats up to second and third.
So Tom Ingram has to try to regroup now. We've got the Toyotas look making progress as well as they come diving now down to Agostini. Ricky Collard look going around the outside of Jake Hill. He gets run out onto the curb, but in fairness, Jake gave him racing room, but Ricky Collard comes up alongside him. He's on the outside for the next corner as well. Can't go through there, slots back in behind, up the curb, and stares at the rear of the BMW.
Yeah, you're not going to go round the outside of Jake Hill going through that Hamilton kick, are you? And hard for driving, but Ricky trying to take advantage on lap 1 of the BMWs, just getting their tyres in, but in these warm conditions, they'll have them up to temperature very quickly, especially the soft tyres on the BMW.
And remember that you'll be looking for a blue light in the side of the car in the window. That means they're going to be on the hybrid. It'll be reflected on the timing tower as well. And as the cars drop down towards the S's then on lap 1 of 12, Rory Butcher involved in the battle. We've got Josh Cook trying to make progress just up the road ahead of him as they flash through. Dan Camish on his toes also. Bobby Thompson and Dan Lloyd together. Lloyd thinks about the inside line into bomb hole. There is a gap. He's alongside and tries to come out ahead.
Yeah, the teammates giving each other a lot of room there through the bomb, weren't they? And they're still giving each other room as they go round Gorham side by side.
This was the corner that had the oil down yesterday that triggered that first red flag in qualifying. No such dramas today. Dan Camish then pounding forward. He's had a pretty decent opening lap, to be fair to him, as Ash Sutton leads Turkington by 2 seconds already. Hill third, Collard 4th, Adam Morgan is 5th, 6th is Ingram, Rowbottom is up to 7th, down to 8th is Cook, down to 9th is Butcher, 10th is Jelly. Sutton is the leading medium-tyred car. The leading soft is Turkington, and the leading hard is Rowbottom.
Yeah, a big moment from Rowbottom. It looked like at that coming through Riches on turn 1, very wide out of the corner. But yeah, brilliant first lap from Sutton, a 2-second gap on the mediums against the soft-tyred BMWs. Good start to the race.
Battle on there, look as the 2 of them come side by side. Adam Agostini, Stephen Jelly getting involved with Rory Butcher there. Ingram, I should say, on the inside line goes through ahead of Adam Morgan. Stephen Jelly goes through on the inside of Rory Butcher. Tom Chilton has had a drama on that opening lap because he came through very, very late indeed as the field then wriggles its way through the infield. Lap number 2, but a 2-second cushion at the end of lap 1 for Sutton. That's extraordinary.
It is really good. Camish up 9 places on lap 1. That's a good opening lap for the series points leader at the moment.
Yeah, that puts him 17th, so he's almost in the points after 1 lap. 15th, remember, is the final point. Right, that's Sutton, the race leader, and Turkington is not getting any closer at the moment, is he, as they come down Bentley Straight. Their third look is Jake Hill. 4th is Ricky Collard. Lots of dust in the background as people run wide coming onto the straight. Good battle between Rowbottom 7th, Cook 8th. And there is Sam Osborne, number 77. He is in 13th place, the third of the 4 Fords. And behind him, look, George Gamble chasing him.
yeah, Rowbottom, Cook and Butcher, the leading exponents on that hard tyre. I was perhaps a little surprised Josh Cook didn't start on a medium or a soft tyre to take advantage of his good qualifying position, but they're each doing well, Rowbottom, Cook and Butcher, on that hard tyre. That is a second slower per lap than the soft tyre.
Now the lead gap is going up. It was 2.2, it is now 2.7, as there, side by side, Ingram on the inside line, Ricky Collard on the outside. That's the change for fourth place. So Ingram, after that hot start, is making progress now.
Yeah, he got a good exit from the final corner and a bit of a toe up the start-finish line, and a good lunge. Collard gave him room on the inside into Riches.
So there, look, is Tom Ingram turning his way out of turn 3. So the lead gap, 2.7 seconds. Ash Sutton for the moment in charge, and he's just pulled another 10th in the first sector. Is this reflecting what you expected of the tyres?
No.
Good night.
I honestly thought the BMWs on the soft tyre would be all over Sutton. They should be all over Sutton. It's testament to Sutton's driving and Motorbase and Tony Carroza's chassis engineering that they've got that car so good. You can see the performance difference in the tyres just between what Ingram was able to do to Collard there. A massive difference.
Camish, incidentally, thinking forward, is up into 14th place, so he's in the points after 2 laps, even though we were not expecting perhaps that much, given that he's on the hard tyre. He's not done yet either. You're looking at the back there of Camish as he comes onto Bentley Straight. George Gamble just up the road ahead of him. So Sutton to Turkington was 2.7 seconds at the start of the lap. Big dive there. Stephen Jelly versus Josh Cook as they come diving down towards the S's. Jelly goes ahead. That puts him up to 8th.
Yeah, it's interesting. All the BMWs really not flying with pace. I'm not sure whether it's just not warm enough for them and those tyres, or whether they're going to come in a little bit stronger later on, but not as quick at this point of the race as you might have expected.
But Ash Sutton is, as we perhaps did expect, blisteringly quick right now. He's just gone over the timing line. There he is. And although that lap was a little bit slower, the gap is 3 seconds after 3 laps. Tim rolls his eyes.
I think, you know, Sutton's thinking was that car was so good in qualifying on those tyres, I don't need to try anything different for race 1. And his thoughts are being vindicated.
Absolutely. Right, that's Camish, who goes through, and he's up another place. Now he's up into 13, so he's chipping forward all the time. So Sutton to Turkington 1 and 2 is 3 seconds. Look at this battle pack behind Camish now, coming out of the Wilson hairpin. George Gamble is next in the queue. And then there is Bobby Thompson, and Ronan Pearson's in that mix as well. Ronan, in fairness, has dropped back a couple of spots from his qualifying, but he's on his toes again, looking to try to retake Bobby Thompson then as they come towards us. Thompson is on the hard tyre, Pearson is on the medium.
Yeah, Pearson should be on the outside. There's a lot of grip here. Look at the new tarmac at the hairpin. Look, and that's why Pearson's trying to go all the way around the outside. Just runs out of the road a little bit, and he won't have the inside for Hamilton, so he'll have to tuck back into line. But there's a lot of grip on that corner. The cars and top drivers reporting the cars rotating really well on the new tarmac.
Sector 1 on this lap. Turkington, Hill, Ingram, all set absolute best. Each driver fractionally quicker than the one ahead. What is significant about that? They are all on the soft tyre. Are we now getting to a tipping point?
We are, except that Ingram has now set the fastest in Sector 2.
Yeah, but he's on soft.
The tyres are coming in a little bit later than we thought. Maybe that little drop in temperature before the race. Now they're coming really strong.
So, soft tyres working well in Sector 1, working well in Sector 2. Therefore, they should be good in Sector 3. And they should be able to bring down that 3-second margin that Ash Sutton has been busy building. Well, he's still got a gap, and even if they catch him, they're still going to find a way past, which isn't the work of the moment, but let's monitor it. 3 seconds last time. Sutton goes through. Turkington behind him. It's down. 2.7. It's game on now. So the tyres are doing what was anticipated eventually. Might have come in later, but Ingram has done the fastest lap of the race now. 1:55.0, and that means that 4.3 seconds cover the leading 4. Sutton, Turkington, Hill and Ingram. Yeah. 1 on medium, 3 on softs.
Yeah, the other thing is that there may be an element of time management in this, in that by looking after the tyres in the first 2 or 3 laps, they will keep those soft tyres longer into the race. They won't deteriorate later in the race. So there may have been an element of tyre management just from those guys on the soft. But yeah, Ingram is flying now. He's caught up catching Jake Hill very quickly, and that gap is gradually coming down to Sutton. Long way to go yet in the race.
12 laps doesn't seem a lot, but remember, this is a lap of 2.9 miles, and so their second, third and fourth come through. Tom Ingram as exciting as ever to watch him fling the Hyundai around any circuit, and Ash Sutton likewise, another very spectacular driver, is still up front. Now, in the first sector, he had lost a 10th to Turkington and 2/10 to Hill, so he is losing some of that advantage. He's not yet being hacked into by Turkington, but of course over the remaining 8 laps, well, come the end it could be a very different story.
Yeah, but then we also have an element of race management from Sutton, don't we?
Yeah.
Because he will be controlling that gap, making sure he doesn't have too many track infringement moments.
Now this is a replay of the start from on board with Ronan Pearson.
And he got the car bogged down. He got too low revs, and as a result, Lloyd and Osborne spear past either side of him. And then Bobby Thompson gets up the inside as well. So not the start that he was looking for. Now Ricky Collard is off the road.
So Ricky Collard with
that was the leading Toyota.
Yeah. Looks like it's mechanical rather than damage. Shake of the head. So Ricky Collard in strife with the Neil Brown engined Toyota. This is for second place. Turkington versus Hill, and a battle there will play into the hands of Ingram, won't it?
Very much so. Hill's looking very much like he wants to get on with it. We have seen him make quite aggressive passes on Turkington before, so he won't be shy about trying to force his way through. He's looking to try and get an overlap on the exit of Palmer's. Turkington's having to close the door, go defensive. Ingram will be loving it behind.
Hill to the outside line, Ingram closing right up. Jake Hill has used one of his laps of hybrid. Turkington has not touched his yet, nor has Ash Sutton in the lead, and Ingram has used one of his 2 laps, so they're all having to be really clever about when they use the hybrid. They're trying to do the early part of the race on pure pace, and that's why Ingram is benefiting from the BMWs getting absolutely together, because he's catching without having to use the hybrid. Turkington is going slower by defending, and Jake Hill is all over the back of him.
Yeah, Dick Bennett's calculator will be exploding as he works out the damage bill between his 2 cars, rubbing bumpers together, but it's exciting to watch for us.
So they're heading down Benchley Straight then. Yellow flag zone there. You just saw the yellow on the left, because on the other side of the road is Ricky Collard's stricken Toyota. Right, out of the S's they come. Turkington still second. I'd say that this battle is going to play into the hands of Ingram. It's also going to help 1A Sutton up the road, because potentially he can build that lead whilst Turkington is busy defending second place.
Yeah, the moment he has to defend, he loses time to the leader, who is well into his rhythm now. Best thing that could have happened for these BMWs in England would have been a safety car, but it didn't happen. Didn't happen, much to Sutton's relief.
And Sutton goes across the timing line to put 6 laps in the book, and the margin is 2.9 seconds, so it's crept up again. They're second, third and fourth. Turkington, Hill, Ingram. In 5th place behind them, incidentally, is Adam Morgan. 6th is Stephen Jelly, so the 4 BMWs in the top 6. Rowbottom is best of the rest, 7th. Josh Cook is 8th. Rory Butcher, 9th, now the best of the Toyotas. 10th is Sam Osborne, and Dan Camish is up to 11th, having started 25th.
Makes you think, how fast will those Napa Racing Fords be when they get on the soft tyre? Because remember at Brands how in the 3rd race Sutton stormed through to win, didn't he? So when he gets on the soft tyre, he's going to be absolutely ballistic.
I'm just thinking about what you said before the race about Camish taking his pain in this race. Well, some pain. He's carving through the field. Tim has a higher pain threshold, maybe. Right, this is Dan Camish getting ahead of Sam Osborne. Another place gain. That puts him up into the top 10.
Wow, this is quite a drive from Camish. He's salvaging a lot from his mistake, making up for that yesterday. He admitted his fault, his error, so kudos for that, but he's certainly making amends today.
Track limit flags. Dan Camish, Dan Lloyd. So Camish needs to be careful.
Who else's name starts with Dan?
Dan Rowbottom. He might be on the list yet. So the BMW, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Turkington, Hill and Ingram, the Hyundai chasing the 2-3 series. They go through. That is Adam Morgan, a bit lonely in 5th, and Stephen Jelly 6th. And there is Rowbottom, so he's got the sort of second wave behind him, through which he's charging Camish.
Yeah, but, you know, Dan Rowbottom's driving a good race. Here comes Camish. Dan Rowbottom is the leading car on hard tyres. He's doing a good job.
Camish on hards, and you know, he's come carving his way up through the field. Where was Rowbottom on the grid? He was 9th, he's up to 7th, so he's not made the same sort of progress that Camish has, although admittedly Camish was getting through cars that ordinarily he would have out-qualified.
Yeah, I think if Camish gets up behind Rowbottom, Dan Rowbottom think, where the hell did he come from?
So to the timing line comes then the mid-pack with their Butcher in 9th, Camish now 10th. And more for the track limit warning flag, incidentally, and now including Andrew Watson and Jade Edwards. Right, there are the BMWs, still 2nd and 3rd. That's calmed down a little bit, hasn't it? Jake Hill just sitting behind for another lap or so. He doesn't want to risk not finishing at all or going down the order. That is Ricky Collard out of the car, trying to explain to the marshals his frustration, but out of the race. Right.
Yeah, I think Jake thought maybe if he could get past Turkington, he could mount a run at Sutton, but maybe he's thinking that's out of the question now, and he's just got to wait and try and maybe get 2nd place.
Or is this a team thing from WSR saying, don't fight, catch it, because when they don't fight, they close. The gap was down 2.5 seconds, 4 tenths down. So if they work together for now and try and get up with Sutton, perhaps that's more beneficial than delaying themselves.
It may well be. But at some point the gloves will be off again.
Oh yeah, absolutely, can't wait. They're off here as well in terms of Tom Ingram. He's nothing to lose. He wants to get up ahead of Jake Hill and gain more points, of course. On to Bentley Straight, there goes Rory Butcher, who has now got Dan Camish behind him. So that's the battle for 9th place. Camish for 9th would be quite an achievement.
It certainly would. It would mean, oh, is this a late lunge? Oh, he's looking down the inside, but he's not going to get through there. Yeah, it would be a great effort. It would mean he's got potential to get enough points, or very good points, to keep him near the top of the championship. Still got the reverse 3, race 2, and then race 3 with reverse grids to come. So his day is certainly not done. I
mean, Dan was pretty downcast yesterday, as you might anticipate. He's very hard on himself. He's probably his own worst critic if things don't go according to plan, but he certainly regrouped today. Tom Ingram, by the way, being shown the track limits driving standards flag. Camish comes up to the line, chasing that trim trailing Toyota of Rory Butcher. Sutton to Turkington, he's now 2.1 seconds. So another 4 tenths pull back on that lap.
Yeah, nearly a second now in 2 laps.
Yeah.
But again, I stress, you know, Sutton is the master of controlling a race, and a 2-second gap for him is an eternity. He's able to manage that very well over the remaining 3 laps.
And he's also got 1 extra lap of hybrid use. He's not touched it yet. He's done all of that lead building on pure pace.
Hasn't needed it, has he?
Exactly right. So he's got 3 laps to Turkington's 2. Ingram's only got 1 that he needs to use sparingly. And Hill is coming back at Turkington now, isn't he?
Yeah, this is the point where he probably is going to have a little bit more of a push, isn't it? They're on lap 9 of 12, so just the 3 laps to go at the end of this one.
So Ash Sutton comes down towards the S's, onto the grass goes Jake Hill. He leans on Turkington. Side by side into the S's. Jake's got the inside line for the next corner. Turkington gives him room, goes out wide. This is Ingram's chance if he can capitalise. Where's the Hyundai? Not quite close enough. Jake Hill goes through. Turkington put off his stride there, but Jake Hill has done it very bravely with 2 wheels on the grass. I'll let Tim talk about track limits in that context in a moment, but look at this. Turkington has lost a chunk of time and he's got Ingram all over the back of him.
That was a very forceful move by Jake Hill. I mean, he was on the grass down the straight, but he kept his foot in. This is on board. Look, he's moving himself out the back of Turkington's car. Here comes Hill with a run on the hybrid. You saw the light flashing. That's what gave him that extra impetus. He goes round the outside, then lets off the brake while Turkington locks up, staying wide. This is a really good move. He gets enough of an overlap, and then just watch. Here, he lets off the brake to make sure he's alongside. Turkington has no choice but to give up the position. It's a good block past, and Turkington was lucky that Ingram wasn't closer to him at that point.
So the starting point now is 2.4 seconds, Sutton to Hill. And it's now Ingram fighting Turkington for 3rd place. And you can see the way that Jake has checked out already. Now in the first sector, he is 3 tenths quicker than Ash Sutton. 3 tenths in 1 sector.
Yeah, well, that was a really good use of his hybrid on that lap before, when he had it and Turkington didn't. Obviously, you don't know when the other driver's going to use it, but it worked out perfectly for Hill at that point.
Now, what about Turkington to hang on to third place? Because he does not seem to have the pace to be able to retaliate, does he? Look at the way that Hill has built that gap. He's 3/10 quicker than Sutton in the first sector. He's 3/10 quicker than Turkington in the same sector.
Yeah, it's very quick. Be very interesting to see the gap at the end of this lap. The first lap that Hill has had clear road in front of him in second place, but he is flying.
Ricky Collard, incidentally, was a water pump failure alarm, and the car was called for the team to stop, so the team will assess the damage when they get it back. So that is Jake Hill, second place, and in the second sector, another 3/10 pulled back. Here is, in block capital letters, a man on a mission.
A man on a mission, but he's got a three-time champion in front of him who knows exactly how to win races and control the gap.
Camish update, he is in 10th place. That is Sam Osborne, who's busy squabbling, as you can see, because he's got Ronan Pearson with him as well. Ronan in the Hyundai starting to push against the Ford. In terms of tyres, the class leaders, you might say, the mediums, Ash Sutton is the best, softs, Jake Hill is the best, and of the hards, it's still Dan Rowbottom.
Yeah, Rowbottom leading, Cook, Butcher and Camish all on hard tyres, that little group together.
The hard men. Right, so we're currently on then lap number 11, and Ash Sutton is 1.6 seconds only ahead of Jake Hill. This is going to be quite something. Less than 2 laps to go.
Yeah, Camish has got a problem behind him because Aaron Taylor-Smith is on the soft tyre, so lapping very quickly. That's Camish's problem now. It's behind him, not in front of him.
And for third place, it is still Turkington just ahead of Ingram. There's one more lap to run at the end of this, and you can see the way the gap is coming down as Hill has done the absolute best in the first sector. Now that he can see Sutton ahead, he's got even more impetus. Replay, this is Camish versus Aaron Taylor-Smith, and as Tim was saying, the danger from behind is a very real one. Taylor-Smith goes through.
Yeah, Camish would have been told that Aaron Smith was on the softs, which is why he didn't fight too hard. You need to pick your battles, have a very alert pit crew radioing you, telling you which battles to pick depending on who's on what tyres. But yes, that gap at the front considerably down to 1.5 seconds, with 5, 6, 7 tenths quicker Hill was on that lap. It's going to be a real obvious gap going into the last lap, isn't it?
And that 1.6 seconds is the smallest gap all race.
Yeah.
So, as the cars head towards us, there is the wheel-lifting Ford Focus. It's the front-wheel drive Ford, the rear-wheel drive BMW. The leader on medium tyres, the second-place car on the softer tyre. And they are about to start the last lap, and for my money, the gap is going to be less than a second. Jake Hill accelerates his way up towards the line. Right, Ash Sutton's Ford Focus is now going to have to become the widest car Ford has ever built over the timing line. Sutton to Hill, 7/10 of a second. On to the last lap we go.
He will be right on the bumper when they come out of that final corner and the drag up to the line with Hill on. He's flashing his lights, he's doing everything he can to put off Ash Sutton, and this is going to be a great final lap. It won't be done till we get to the line. Needs to have a really perfect lap from both of them.
So there is Jake Hill chasing Ash Sutton for all he is worth as the cars now make that run down towards Agostini once again. And they'll come to the end of the first sector, and at that point, well, the gap is down, but only by 87 thousandths of a second. And you can see the commitment being put in by Hill. Ash Sutton is going for his 30th win, incidentally, in this race, and then right on his tail is Jake Hill, and he's getting closer and closer all the time.
Yeah. Oh, look up from Hill, but he manages to just collect the apex. He doesn't run wide, didn't lose any time. He's looking for a great exit here onto the back straight. He's going to get a little bit of a toe. They're both on their hybrid. They're both using the hybrid on the last lap. Sutton to defend, Hill to attack.
So down they come to the S's. The gap is coming down and down and down, but Ash Sutton positions the car exactly where it needs to be. Uses the curve through the left and the right. Now to bomb hole. He needs to cover off that gap on the inside. It's then going to be a drag race all the way up towards the line. Sutton then with still a little bit of the hybrid available to him on this last lap, comes then through Coram curve. Jake Hill is going to have to try to pounce on the way up towards the line. Out of Coram, down towards that left at turn 12. Hill closes under braking. Now the drag race starts. Who is better on the power? Who has left just a little squirt of hybrid? Up to the checkered flag they come. Ash Sutton is just going to hang on for career win 30 as he comes across the line. Ash Sutton wins round 7 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship by 2/10 of a second. He's came across the line at the end of lap 1, 2 seconds clear. By the end of the race, it was 2 tenths ahead. Third, Turkington. Fourth, Ingram. Fifth, Morgan. Sixth, Jelly. And then the 7th place car is going to be that of Dan Rowbottom on the hard tyre ahead of Cook, then Butcher, and then Taylor Smith. That's how they started the lap, but Taylor Smith has made progress, as you can see, onto the back of the Toyota. Rowbottom is indeed 7th, Cook for 8th, Butcher for 9th, Aaron Taylor Smith for 10th, and Dan Camish, who was 10th, goes over the line in 11th. But even so, from 25th on the grid, that's one of the standout drives.
Yeah, great drive, and just enforcing just how good those Napa Fords are. Terrific drive by Jake Hill. Makes you wonder what he could have perhaps done if he got past Turkington earlier. And certainly there'll be questions in the Turkington camp about why was Hill so much quicker at the end of that race. But a terrific drive by Sutton. Hats off to it. They're just doing nothing wrong at the moment. There's nothing you can fault. But that car winning that race on medium tyres against surrounded by cars on softs, it makes you wonder what more is to come from that car.
Do we have a view of a car with 2 wheels on the grass, outside of the track, gaining a place?
Well, you have to remember that track limits only apply where they're being watched. It's not a rule that applies all the way around the circuit. Well, it is a rule, but it's not observed. So if it didn't happen, if it's not seen, it didn't happen.
A career in politics beckons too. So, Jake Hill takes second, but the Ash Sam fan club is very, very happy, and so is the man himself, I'm sure. So, 3rd win of the season, 30th of his career, and with Dan Camish only in 11th and Ingram 4th, that is going to be very good news for Ash within the championship as well. Round 7 of the championship, a win for Ash Sutton. Jake Hill 2nd, 2 tenths back, with Colin Turkington in 3rd. 4th to Tom Ingram, ahead of Adam Morgan and Stephen Jelly. Dan Rowbottom 7th, and Josh Cook wins the independent class in 8th from Rory Butcher 9th. Aaron Taylor Smith, the 2nd independent, coming home 10th. In 11th place, Dan Camish, ahead of Ronan Pearson, who also fought back during that race. Sam Osborne 13th, ahead of George Gamble. And then Dan Lloyd. And Bobby Thompson was out of the points, ahead of Mikey Doble, Andrew Watson. Then it was Aidan Moffat and Dexter Patterson coming home in 20th spot. 21st, Jack Butel. Then it was Will Powell ahead of Nicholas Hamilton. Tom Chilton was badly delayed at the start, but finished ahead of Jade Edwards and Nick Halstead. Ricky Collard, we lost, of course, with that technical drama during the race. So what does all that do to the championship? Well, the answer is that Ash Sutton is now the leader. He's 4 points ahead of Tom Ingram. Then it's Dan Camish 3rd, Colin Turkington and Jake Hill. Bobby Thompson is 6th from Adam Morgan. Josh Cook, Tom Chilton and Dan Rowbottom round out the top 10.